Captain Jake Miller stared at the strange message on his screen. The words glowed green against the black background of space. After 3 weeks of traveling through empty space, his ship had finally received a signal from something other than Earth. "Sir, the translation is complete," said Lieutenant Ben Clark from his station. "The aliens want to meet with us." Jake rubbed his tired eyes. His ship, the New Horizon, had been exploring this sector for 2 months. They were looking for new planets that humans could live on. He never expected to find aliens. "What do they want?" Jake asked. "They say they want to help us," Ben replied. "They call themselves the Veltar Confederacy. They've been watching humans for a long time." Dr. Lisa Carter looked up from her science station. She was the ship's expert on alien life, though she had never actually met any aliens before today. "Captain, this is incredible. First contact with an alien species. We need to be very careful." Jake nodded. The message had come from a moon orbiting a distant planet. The aliens wanted to meet there in 2 days. They promised safe passage and said they had important things to discuss. "Set course for the meeting point," Jake ordered, "and send a message to Earth. Tell them what's happening." 2 days later, Jake and Lisa stood on the surface of the small moon. The air was thin but breathable. Strange purple plants grew from the rocky ground. In the distance, they could see the alien ship Dot. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The ship looked like it was made of crystal and metal mixed together. It was 3 times larger than the New Horizon and seemed to glow with its own light. "Remember," Lisa whispered, "we represent all of humanity today." 3 aliens walked toward them. Jake had seen many strange things in space, but these creatures were unlike anything he had imagined. The first alien was tall and thin, almost like a walking crystal. Its body was clear and blue, and light seemed to move through it like water. This was Ambassador Zethki, according to the message. The second alien looked like a giant insect. It had 6 legs and 4 arms. Its skin was dark green and shiny. Its eyes were large and black. This was Commander Vrexta of the Kithara. The third alien was the strangest of all. It had no solid body. Instead, it was like a cloud of gas that glowed with different colors. The colors changed as it moved, creating patterns that somehow formed words. This was Elder Noomsith of the Neth Volume. "Greetings, humans," Zethki said. His voice was like music, but there was something cold about it. "We have been watching your species for some time. You have made impressive progress for such a young civilization." Jake stepped forward. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. This is a historic moment for humanity." Zethki's crystal body flickered with what might have been amusement. "Indeed, we have called this meeting because we believe you need our help." "Our help?" Lisa asked. Commander Vrexta clicked his mandibles together. "Your technology is very basic. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are simple. Your computers are old-fashioned. You are like children playing with toys." The gas alien, Elder Noomsith, pulsed with orange and red lights. "We do not mean to insult you. All young species go through this stage, but without proper guidance, you will never advance beyond your current level." Jake felt his jaw tighten, but he kept his voice steady. "What kind of guidance are you talking about?" Zethki gestured toward their ship. "We offer to share our technology with you. Our quantum computers can solve problems in seconds that would take your machines years. Our fusion drives can power ships across the galaxy. Our weapons can protect you from the dangers of space." "That sounds generous," Lisa said carefully. "What would you want in return?" "Very little," Vrexta replied. "Some raw materials from your planets. Some workers to help with basic tasks. It is a fair trade. You give us simple things, and we give you the knowledge to join the galactic community." Lisa noticed something odd about the alien technology they were showing off. The design of their quantum computer looked familiar somehow. The energy patterns in their fusion drive reminded her of something she had seen before. "Your offer is interesting," Jake said, "but we would need to discuss this with our leaders on Earth." Elder Noomsith's colors turned darker. "Of course, but do not take too long. The galaxy is a dangerous place for species that remain too primitive. There are others who would not be as patient with you as we are." The meeting continued for another hour. The aliens showed them more of their technology. They talked about the wonders of galactic civilization. They spoke of the benefits of having proper teachers. But with every word, Jake felt more uncomfortable. The aliens acted like they were doing humans a great favor. They talked about humanity like adults, talking about children who needed to be taught how to behave. When the meeting ended, Jake and Lisa returned to their ship. As soon as they were alone, Lisa grabbed Jake's arm. "Captain, there's something wrong here," she said. "I felt it too," Jake replied. "They're not treating us like equals. They're treating us like we're stupid." "It's more than that," Lisa said. "Some of their technology looks familiar. I've seen designs like that before, but I can't remember where." Jake. ACTIVAD, the communication system. "Get me Admiral Kate Nelson on Earth. Priority 1. The signal would take 6 hours to reach Earth, and 6 hours for a reply to come back." While they waited, Jake and Lisa studied the recordings of the meeting. "Look at this," Lisa said, pointing to a screen showing the alien quantum computer. "The basic design principle is the same as the prototype that Dr. Heinrich Voss was working on back in the 2070s. "That's impossible," Jake said. "Dr. Voss disappeared decades ago. His research was lost." "I know," Lisa said. "But look at the patterns. The quantum matrix structure is almost identical." Jake stared at the screen. A cold feeling was growing in his stomach. "Send all this data to Earth. Tell them to check it against the old archives. And tell them to be very careful about what they say to these aliens." 12 hours later, Admiral Nelson's reply came back. Her message was short and urgent. "Do not agree to anything. Keep talking to them, but make no commitments. We are investigating something that might change everything." Jake looked out at the alien ship in the distance. It still glowed with its beautiful light, but now that light seemed less welcoming and more threatening. "What do you think they're really after?" Lisa asked. Jake was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know, but I have a feeling we're about to find out." The next day, Ambassador Zithke contacted them again. His crystal form seemed less patient than before. "Have you considered our offer?" he asked. "We're still discussing it with our leaders," Jake replied. "These are big decisions that require time." "Time is something you may not have much of," Zethke warned. "The galaxy does not wait for those who hesitate." After the call ended, Jake turned to Lisa. "Send a message to Earth. Tell them to dig deeper into those old research files. I think our alien friends have been lying to us." As the new horizon drifted in space, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was walking into a trap. The aliens offered advanced technology and galactic citizenship, but their eyes held secrets, and their words carried threats. Something was very wrong with this first contact, and Jake was determined to find out what it was. Professor Alan Brooks ran his fingers through his gray hair as he stared at the data on his computer screen. The message from Captain Miller had arrived 2 days ago, and Alan had not slept since then. As director of the Institute for Archaeological Technology, he had seen many strange things. But this was different. "Dr. Torres, come look at this." He called to his colleague across the lab. Dr. Rebecca Torres, a historian who specialized in lost technology, walked over to Alan's desk. Her dark eyes were tired from hours of research. "What did you find?" Alan pointed to 2 images on his screen. One showed the alien quantum computer from Captain Miller's meeting. The other showed a faded blueprint from 2078. Look at the quantum matrix structure, Alan said. They're almost identical. Rebecca leaned closer. That's Dr. Heinrich Voss's design. But he disappeared 50 years ago. His research station went dark, and we never found out what happened to him. It gets worse, Alan said. He pulled up another set of images. This is the alien fusion drive design. Now look at this. The second image showed research notes covered. In complex equations, the handwriting was neat and precise. Dr. Priya Sharma's work, Rebecca whispered. She was working on advanced fusion drives when her station lost contact with Earth in 2081. Alan nodded grimly. I've been checking all night. Every piece of technology, the aliens showed us matches. Research that was being done by humans in the 2070s and 2080s. Rebecca sat down heavily in a chair. That's impossible. Those scientists died decades ago. Their research was lost. Was it? Alan asked. Or was it stolen? They worked through the night, pulling up old files from the archives. The picture that emerged was disturbing. Between 2073 and 2084, 7 major research stations had gone silent. All of them were working on breakthrough technologies. All of them had been close to major discoveries. Look at this pattern, Rebecca said, pointing to a timeline she had created. The disappearances weren't random. They happened right when the scientists were about to make their biggest breakthroughs. Alan pulled up another file. Research Station Alpha 7. Dr. Voss was working on quantum computing. He sent a message to Earth, saying he was on the verge of a major discovery. 3 days later, all contact was lost. Station Beta 3, Rebecca added. Dr. Sharma was testing her new fusion drive design. Her last message said the tests were going perfectly. Then nothing. Station Gamma 9. Dr. Robert Kim was working on exotic matter manipulation. He reported strange readings 2 days before his station went dark. The list went on. 7 stations. 7 teams of brilliant scientists. 7 breakthroughs that were never completed. The official reports all blamed equipment failures, Alan said. But look at this. He showed Rebecca a classified document that had been declassified only recently. It was a report from a military investigation team that had visited the sites. They found something, Rebecca said as she read. The stations weren't destroyed. They were emptied. All the advanced equipment was gone. All the research data was missing, but there was no sign of explosion or fire. Alan opened another file. This is the really strange part. The investigation team found traces of unknown energy signatures at each site. Energy patterns that didn't match any known human technology. Rebecca looked up from the report. Alien technology? That's what I'm thinking, Alan said. But if the aliens have been watching us for decades, why would they steal our technology? They claim to be more advanced than us. Rebecca stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the city was waking up. People were going to work, not knowing that their world might be about to change forever. Maybe they're not as advanced as they claim, she said quietly. Alan's phone rang. It was Admiral Nelson from Earth Defense Command. Professor Brooks, what have you found? Admiral, I think we have a serious problem, Alan said. The alien technology appears to be based on stolen human research from the 2070s and 2080s. There was a long pause. Are you certain? As certain as I can be without physical evidence. The designs are too similar to be coincidence. I'm sending you more data, Admiral Nelson said. Captain Miller has been having more meetings with the aliens. They're getting impatient. They want an answer soon. After the call ended, Alan and Rebecca continued their research. They brought in other experts. Dr. Kevin Walsh, a physicist who had known Dr. Voss personally. Dr. Maria Santos, an engineer who had worked on fusion drive designs. Dr. Paul Johnson, a computer scientist who understood quantum systems. Each expert came to the same conclusion. The alien technology was based on human designs from 50 years ago. "This is incredible," Dr. Walsh said. Heinrich was brilliant. If he had finished his work, human technology would have advanced by decades. But he didn't finish it, Dr. Santos pointed out. No one did. All the research was lost. Was it lost? Alan asked. Or was it completed somewhere else? Dr. Johnson pulled up a detailed analysis of the alien quantum computer. "If I didn't know better, I'd say this was built by humans. The design philosophy is completely human. The way the quantum states are organized, the error correction methods, even the user interface design. It's all human thinking." Rebecca had been quiet during the discussion. Now she spoke up. What if the scientists weren't killed? What if they were taken? The room fell silent. "Think about it," Rebecca continued. "Advanced aliens arrive at research stations. They don't destroy the places. They don't kill the scientists. They take them and their research to complete the work somewhere else." Alan felt a chill run down his spine. "You're suggesting that Dr. Voss and the others are still alive?" "I'm suggesting that they were forced to complete their research for alien masters," Rebecca said. "And now those aliens are trying to sell our own technology back to us." Dr. Walsh stood up abruptly. "We need proof. We need to find evidence of what really happened to those research stations." Admiral Nelson's voice came through the communication system. "Professor Brooks, I'm authorizing a covert investigation. I want you to examine the sites where the research stations disappeared. Find out what really happened." Alan looked around the room at his colleagues. They were all thinking the same thing. If they were right, then humanity was facing an enemy that had been planning this for decades. "We'll need a special team," Alan said. "Scientists, archaeologists, and military personnel. And we'll need to be careful. If the aliens are monitoring us, they might try to stop us." Rebecca pulled up a map showing the locations of the 7 lost research stations. "We should start with Alpha 7. It's the closest, and Dr. Voss's research was the most advanced." As they planned their investigation, Alan couldn't stop thinking about the implications. If the aliens had been stealing human technology for decades, what else had they taken? How many other species had they done this to? And most importantly, what would they do when they realized that humans had discovered their secret? Meanwhile, in space, Captain Miller received another message from Ambassador Zethke. The alien's crystal form seemed less patient than before. "Captain Miller, we have been waiting for your answer. Our offer will not remain open forever." Jake looked at the alien on his screen. "We appreciate your patience. These are important decisions that require careful consideration. Your species has a tendency to overthink simple matters," Zethke replied. "In the galaxy, those who hesitate are often left behind." After the call ended, Jake turned to Lisa. "They're getting nervous." "I think they know we're investigating them," Lisa nodded. "I've been analyzing more of their technology. The patterns are definitely human. But there's something else." "What?" "The designs have flaws. Small ones, but they're there. It's like whoever built them was working under stress or trying to sabotage them." Jake felt a spark of hope. "You think the original scientists left clues?" "I think they left more than clues," Lisa said. "I think they left us a way to fight back." On Earth, Alan and his team prepared for their dangerous mission. They would travel to the site of Research Station Alpha 7 and try to uncover the truth about what had happened 50 years ago. But as they worked, they all felt the weight of responsibility. The future of humanity might depend on what they found in the ruins of the past. The aliens had underestimated human determination. They thought they could steal from humanity and then pose as teachers. But humans had a long memory and a strong sense of justice. The investigation was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same again. Commander Roy Hayes felt the cold wind cut through his protective suit as he stepped onto the surface of the asteroid where Research Station Alpha 7 once stood. 50 years ago, this place had been home to 30 brilliant scientists. Now it was a graveyard of twisted metal and broken dreams. "Dr. Foster, what are you seeing?" Roy asked into his radio. Dr. Emma Foster, the team's archaeologist, was scanning the ruins with advanced equipment. "The official reports were wrong, Commander. This station wasn't destroyed by an explosion. It was carefully taken apart." Roy walked over to where Emma was working. The ground was covered with metal fragments, but they were arranged in strange patterns. "Look at this," Emma said, pointing to a piece of hull plating. "The edges are perfectly smooth. This wasn't torn apart by an explosion. It was cut with precision tools." Dr. Kevin Walsh, who had known Dr. Vuss personally, was examining what remained of the quantum computer lab. "This is impossible," he muttered. "The equipment didn't just break down. It was removed piece by piece." Roy activated his communication system. "Control, this is Hayes. The station was definitely not destroyed by equipment failure. Someone or something stripped this place clean." Professor Alan Brooks' voice came through the radio from Earth. "Keep looking, Commander. We need to find evidence of what really happened." The investigation team spent hours searching through the ruins. They found fragments of personal belongings, pieces of research equipment, and scraps of metal that had once been part of the station's hull. But they found no bodies. "Where are the scientists?" Roy asked. "If the station was destroyed, there should be remains." Dr. Foster was using ground-penetrating radar to search beneath the surface. "Commander, I'm getting readings from underground. There's a chamber about 20 meters down. It took them 3 hours to dig through the asteroid's rocky surface. What they found changed everything. Hidden beneath the ruins was a small chamber that had been sealed with advanced technology. The walls were covered with a strange material that had preserved everything inside from the cold of space." "My God," Dr. Walsh whispered as they entered the chamber. The room was filled with equipment that looked both human and alien at the same time. Computer terminals with human interfaces but alien power sources. Research notes written in human. Handwriting but stored on alien data crystals. But most shocking of all was what they found in the center of the chamber. A message recorder, still functioning after 50 years. Dr. Foster activated the device. The holographic image of Dr. Heinrich Voss appeared in the air before them. "If you're watching this, then the worst has happened," the recording said. "The beings that contacted us 3 days ago were not what they seemed." Roy felt his blood run cold as he listened to the message. They came in ships that looked like they were made of crystal and metal. They said they were explorers from a distant galaxy. They were interested in our quantum research. They seemed friendly at first. The image flickered slightly before continuing. But they weren't explorers. They were thieves. Advanced thieves who had been watching our solar system for decades. They knew exactly what we were working on. They knew when we were close to breakthrough discoveries. Dr. Walsh moved closer to the recording. "Heinrich, what happened to you?" As if answering his question, the recording continued. "They didn't destroy our station. They took it. They used some kind of technology to transport the entire facility to their ship. All of us. All of our research. Everything." The image of Dr. Voss looked tired and frightened. "They told us that our species was too primitive to understand the implications of our own discoveries. They said they would complete our work for us. They said it was for the greater good of the galaxy." Roy exchanged glances with his team. The aliens had been lying about everything. "But we're not fools," the recording continued. "We know they're going to use our technology for their own purposes. So we're fighting back the only way we can." The image smiled grimly. "We're sabotaging our own research. Small changes that they won't notice at first. Design flaws that will cause problems later. We're making sure that if they steal our work, it won't work perfectly." Dr. Foster was taking notes frantically. "This is incredible. The original scientists were sabotaging their own research to prevent it from being used against humanity." The recording wasn't finished. "Dr. Sharma has introduced instabilities into the fusion drive design. Dr. Kim has built backdoors into the exotic matter systems. Dr. Martinez has created quantum errors in the computer matrices. We're all doing what we can." The image of Dr. Voss looked directly at the camera. "If humanity ever encounters these beings again, remember this. They are not advanced. They are parasites. They steal technology from younger species because they cannot innovate on their own. They have been doing this for thousands of years." Roy felt anger building in his chest. The aliens had been lying about everything. They weren't teachers. They were criminals. "We don't know if any of us will survive this," the recording continued. "But we hope that someday someone will find this message. Someone who can warn Earth about what these creatures really are." The image began to fade. "Tell our families that we didn't die in vain. Tell them that we fought back. And tell them that humanity is stronger than these parasites think." The recording ended, leaving the chamber in silence. Roy activated his radio. "Control, this is Hayes. We found the truth. The aliens are not what they claim to be." Professor Brooks' voice was urgent. "What did you find?" "The aliens have been stealing technology from younger species for thousands of years. They took our scientists and forced them to complete their research. But the scientists fought back. They sabotaged their own work." There was a long pause from Earth. "Commander, we just received word from Captain Miller. The aliens are demanding an immediate answer. They say they won't wait much longer." Roy looked around the chamber at the evidence of alien crimes. "Tell Captain Miller to keep stalling. We're bringing this evidence back to Earth." As the team prepared to leave, Dr. Foster made another discovery. Hidden in Dr. Voss's personal effects was a small data crystal. "This contains the original, unsabotaged research," she said. "The real breakthrough discoveries that the aliens stole." Dr. Walsh held the crystal up to the light. "Heinrich saved the real research. He knew that someday humanity would need it." Roy thought about the implications. If the aliens had been using sabotaged human technology for 50 years, they might be vulnerable. Their ships, their weapons, their computers, all based on flawed human designs. "We need to get back to Earth immediately," Roy said. "This changes everything." But as they prepared to leave the asteroid, their sensors detected something approaching. A massive ship made of crystal and metal was heading toward them. "They found us," Dr. Foster said. Roy activated the emergency beacon. "Control, this is Hayes. We're under attack. The aliens know we discovered their secret." The alien ship was beautiful and terrifying. It was easily 10 times larger than their small research vessel. Weapons that looked like they were made of pure energy were charging up. "Everyone get to the escape pods," Roy ordered. "We need to get this information back to Earth." As they ran through the corridors of their ship, Roy couldn't help but think about Dr. Voss and the other scientists. They had been prisoners for 50 years, forced to work for their captors. But they had never given up hope. The escape pods launched just as the alien ship opened fire. Roy watched through the small window as their research vessel was destroyed by weapons that had been built using stolen human technology. But the aliens had made a mistake. They had revealed themselves too early. Now humanity knew the truth. As the escape pods raced toward Earth, Roy transmitted everything they had discovered. The recordings, the evidence, the sabotaged research. All of it was sent to Earth Defense Command. "This is Commander Hayes," he said into the radio. "The aliens are not our friends. They are thieves and liars. But we have something they don't expect." "What's that, Commander?" Professor Brooks asked. "We have the truth. And we have the original research that they think they destroyed. It's time for humanity to show these parasites what we're really capable of." The race was on. The aliens knew their secret was out. They would try to silence humanity before the truth could spread. But humans had never been easy to silence. And somewhere in the dark of space, the descendants of stolen human technology were about to face their creators. The aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive species. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The real fight was just beginning. Captain Jake Miller watched the alien fleet appear on his ship's sensors. 20 massive vessels, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. They had materialized out of faster-than-light travel, like ghosts becoming solid. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Ambassador Zethke." Lieutenant Ben Clark reported. Jake straightened in his command chair. "Put him through." The crystal alien's image appeared on the main screen, but there was no pretense of friendship now. Zethke's transparent form pulsed with angry light. "Captain Miller, your species has made a grave mistake," the alien said. "You have been investigating matters that do not concern you. Everything concerns us when it involves our own people." Jake replied calmly. Zet's form flickered with what might have been surprise. "Your own people? We do not understand. We found the truth about Research Station Alpha 7. We found Dr. Voss's message. We know what you really are." The alien was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was cold and threatening. "Your species is even more primitive than we thought. You cannot comprehend the greater purposes we serve. The technology you stumbled upon by accident belongs to the galaxy's advanced civilizations." Jake felt anger building in his chest. "You mean the technology you stole from us 50 years ago?" "We liberated knowledge that was being wasted by an inferior species," Zethke replied. "Your scientists were children playing with forces they could not understand. We gave their work meaning." Behind Jake, Dr. Lisa Carter was working frantically at her station. She had been analyzing the alien fleet's energy signatures since they arrived. "Captain," she whispered urgently, "their ships are running on the sabotaged fusion drives, the ones Dr. Sharma modified." Jake kept his expression neutral as he continued talking to Zethke. "So you admit you stole our technology?" "We elevated it beyond your limited understanding," the alien said. "And now you will submit to proper guidance, or you will face the consequences." Commander Vrexta appeared next to Zethke. The insect-like alien clicked his mandibles threateningly. "Your investigation team destroyed one of our collection vessels," Vrexta said. "This act of aggression will not go unpunished." "Collection vessel?" Jake asked. "The ship we used to harvest your archaeological site," Zethke explained. "You killed our crew when you transmitted your findings to Earth." Jake realized they were talking about the alien ship that had attacked Commander Hayes and his team. They were defending themselves. "You attacked them first. We were protecting galactic stability," Zethke said. "Some knowledge is too dangerous for primitive species to possess." Elder Noomzeth joined the conversation. The gaseous alien pulsed with dark red colors. "Your species has one final chance," the Elder said. "Surrender all your research data. Submit to technological regulation. Accept your place as a junior member of the galactic community. And if we refuse," Jake asked, "then we will do what we have done to dozens of other species who chose to resist," Zethke replied. "We will collect your entire population for forced education. Your planet will become a research facility under our management." The threat was clear. Slavery for all of humanity. Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. They were all watching. Him, waiting for his response. These weren't just words anymore. This was war. "I have a message for your Confederacy," Jake said. "Humanity rejects your offer. We reject your authority. And we reject your right to steal from us." Zefki's crystal form blazed with angry light. "Then you have chosen extinction." The transmission ended. "Sir, they're powering up weapons," Ben reported, but Jake was smiling. During the conversation, Dr. Carter had been sending coded messages to Earth. The sabotaged alien technology was about to become humanity's secret weapon. "Lisa, are you ready?" Dr. Carter nodded. "The activation codes are prepared. When you give the word, every piece of stolen technology in that fleet will start experiencing cascading failures." Jake activated the ship's communication system. "This is Captain Miller to all human vessels. Execute Operation Vindication." On Earth, Dr. Marcus Webb and engineer Linda Price were standing in a secret facility that had been built in just 2 weeks. It contained the most advanced technology humanity had ever created. "Are you sure this will work?" Linda asked. Dr. Webb smiled grimly. Dr. Voss and his team were brilliant. They not only sabotaged their stolen research, they left us the blueprints for the real versions. He activated a massive quantum computer that made the alien versions look like toys. "The aliens have been using our 50-year-old technology. We've had 50 years to improve on it." Linda powered up the new fusion drive system. "The irony is beautiful. They're about to face the true power of human innovation." In space, the alien fleet began its attack. Energy weapons that had been built using stolen human designs fired at the new horizon, but Jake's ship was no longer alone. The human defense fleet had arrived, and these ships were different. They were powered by the real human technology that the aliens had never seen. "Sir, their first volley missed completely," Ben reported with amazement. Dr. Carter explained what was happening. "The aliens are using targeting systems based on Dr. Kim's sabotaged research. The quantum calculations are deliberately flawed." Jake watched as the alien ships tried to maneuver. Their movements were sluggish and unpredictable. "Their navigation systems are failing," Lisa continued. "Dr. Martinez built randomization errors into the quantum matrices. The longer they use them, the worse they get." But the real surprise came when the human fleet opened fire. The new human weapons were based on principles that the aliens had never seen before. While the aliens had been content to use stolen 50-year-old technology, humanity had continued to innovate. "Direct hit on the lead vessel," Ben reported. "Their shields are down." The alien ship's crystal structure was cracking. Without working quantum computers to maintain their defensive systems, they were vulnerable. Ambassador Zefki's voice came over the radio. "This is impossible. Your weapons are primitive. Your ships are inferior." "Were?" Jake corrected. 50 years ago, they were. But we didn't stop advancing just because you stole our research." More alien ships were experiencing failures. Their fusion drives were becoming unstable. Their quantum computers were producing nonsensical results. Their weapons were firing at empty space. Commander Vrex's panicked voice joined the transmission. "Our systems are failing. The quantum matrices are producing cascade errors. That's what happens when you use sabotage technology for 50 years, Dr. Carter explained. Dr. Voss and his team built those errors to activate under stress. Jake felt a surge of pride for the scientists who had died 50 years ago. Even in captivity, they had been working to protect humanity. The battle was turning into a rout. The alien fleet, so confident in their stolen technology, was falling apart. Ships were colliding with each other as their navigation systems failed. Weapons were exploding in their own gun ports. Life support systems were shutting down, but the biggest shock came when Admiral Kate Nelson's flagship arrived. The massive vessel was powered by technology that the aliens didn't recognize. "This is Admiral Nelson to the Veltar fleet," her voice boomed across space. "You are surrounded by ships using genuine human technology. Not the sabotaged versions you've been using for 50 years. Elder Noomsith Esius' form was flickering with confused colors. "This is impossible. You are a primitive species. You cannot have technology more advanced than ours." "We do," Admiral Nelson replied, "because we never stopped innovating. While you were content to steal and copy, we continued to grow and learn." Jake watched as more alien ships suffered system failures. The mighty fleet that had seemed so threatening was now helpless. "Sir," Ben reported, "we're receiving distress signals from the alien ships. They're requesting emergency assistance." Jake looked at the alien fleet. Many of the ships were dead in space. Others were barely functioning. The crews were trapped in vessels that were no longer safe. "This is Captain Miller to the Veltar fleet," Jake said. "We are prepared to offer humanitarian assistance to your damaged vessels." Ambassador Zefki's image appeared on the screen again. His crystal form was dim and flickering. "You would help us? After what we did to your people? We're not like you," Jake replied. "We don't leave people to die, even our enemies. But there was a condition. However," Jake continued, "we want the human scientists you've been holding prisoner for 50 years. All of them. Alive and unharmed." Zefki's form flickered with what might have been fear. "The research subjects are. They are valuable assets. They cannot be simply released." "Research subjects?" Dr. Carter's voice was filled with anger. "You mean the human beings you kidnapped and enslaved?" "They have been well cared for," Commander Vrexta protested. "They have been given purpose. Their work has benefited the entire galaxy." "Their work has benefited only you," Jake replied. "And now it's over." Admiral Nelson's voice cut through the conversation. "Veltar fleet, this is your final warning. Release the human prisoners immediately, or we will board your vessels and take them by force." The alien fleet was in no position to resist. Half their ships were dead in space. The others were barely functioning. Their stolen technology had finally betrayed them. "We ... we will comply," Zefki said quietly. "But you must understand, some of the humans have been with us for many decades. They may not want to leave." Jake felt a chill at those words. What had T6 months after the defeat of the Veltar? Fleet Captain Jake Miller stood in the command center of Earth's new deep space defense station. Through the massive windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species docked at the station's ports. "Captain, we have another delegation arriving," Lieutenant Ben Clark reported. "The Zorthak Republic. They're requesting asylum and protection from Veltar occupation forces." Jake nodded. "Send them to Docking Bay 7. Dr. Carter will meet them there." It had been like this for months. Species from across the galaxy were coming to Earth, seeking help against the Veltar Confederacy. The battle near Earth had been just the beginning of a much larger conflict. Dr. Lisa Carter had become Earth's leading expert on alien liberation. She worked with rescued scientists and freed populations to understand the full scope of the Veltars. "Crimes. The pattern is always the same," she explained to Jake as they walked through the station. "The Veltar find a species on the verge of technological breakthrough. They monitor them until the moment of discovery. Then they strike." They passed through the medical bay, where Dr. Heinrich Voss was working with other rescued human scientists. At 83, he was too old for active duty, but his mind was as sharp as ever. "Dr. Voss, how are you feeling today?" Jake asked. The old scientist looked up from his work. "Better every day, Captain. It's amazing what freedom can do for the spirit." Dr. Voss was leading a team that was reverse engineering Veltar technology. They were discovering that most of it was stolen from other species, not just humans. We've identified technology from at least 30 different civilizations, Dr. Voss explained. The Veltar have been technological parasites for thousands of years. What about their original technology? Jake asked. Do they have any? Dr. Voss shook his head. Very little. Some basic space travel, simple energy weapons, primitive life support. They were never innovators. They were always thieves. Dr. Priya Sharma, now serving as Earth's chief fusion engineer, joined the conversation. The most tragic part is how they stunted galactic development. By stealing breakthrough technologies, they prevented dozens of species from advancing naturally. Jake thought about the implications. So the galaxy should be far more advanced than it is. Exactly, Dr. Sharma said. The Veltar created artificial technological stagnation. They kept the galaxy primitive so they could maintain their position as the advanced civilization. The conversation was interrupted by an alarm. Admiral Kate Nelson's voice came over. The station's communication system. All senior staff to the command center. Priority 1. Jake and his team rushed to the command center, where they found Admiral Nelson studying a holographic display of the local galaxy. We have a problem, she said. The Veltar are not giving up. They're regrouping in the Andromeda sector. The display showed intelligence reports from across the galaxy. The Veltar Confederacy was mobilizing every ship they had left. They were calling in forces from distant territories. How many ships? Jake asked. Over 500. Admiral Nelson replied. It's everything they have left. Dr. Carter looked concerned. But their technology is failing. The sabotage is still spreading through their systems. That's what makes them dangerous, Admiral Nelson explained. They're desperate. A desperate enemy with 500 ships is still a threat. Jake studied the tactical display. The Veltar fleet was massive, but it was also unstable. Ships were breaking down faster than they could be repaired. What's their objective? He asked. Earth, Admiral Nelson said grimly. They're coming here to finish what they started. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. The Veltar weren't just trying to win a battle. They were trying to destroy humanity completely. How long do we have? Jake asked. 3 weeks, Admiral Nelson replied. Maybe less. Jake looked around the command center. Then we need to be ready. Over the next 3 weeks, the solar system became a fortress. Ships from dozens of liberated species arrived to help defend Earth. The Zorthic Republic sent their best warships. The Kethmori Collective contributed their advanced shield technology. The Nil-Ocean Empire provided their most experienced pilots, but the most important contribution came from the rescued human scientists. Dr. Voss and his team had been working around the clock to develop new weapons and defenses. We call it the Innovation Protocol, Dr. Voss explained to Jake. It's a quantum virus that attacks the fundamental structure of stolen technology. How does it work? Jake asked. Every piece of technology has a signature, Dr. Voss said. The original creators. Fingerprint, if you will. We've learned to identify these signatures and use them to create targeted attacks. Dr. Sharma added, when the virus encounters stolen technology, it recognizes the original design and activates the built-in sabotage systems. But it also does something else. What? It sends the technology back to its original specifications. Dr. Sharma explained. The improvements and modifications the Veltar made disappear. The technology reverts to its original, pure form. Jake realized the implications. So their weapons become less effective, but ours become more effective. Exactly, Dr. Voss said. They'll be fighting with primitive versions of our technology, while we use the advanced versions. The day of the final battle arrived with little fanfare. The Veltar fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system like a dark cloud. 500 ships, all showing signs of technological decay. Jake was aboard the new human flagship, BU's Vindication. The ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, incorporating lessons learned from 50 years of independent research. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Veltar flagship," Ben reported. Ambassador Zefki's image appeared on the screen. The crystal alien looked different now. His form was cracked and dim, like a dying star. "Captain Miller," Zefki said, "this is your final chance. Surrender now, and we will allow your species to survive as our servants." "And if we refuse?" Jake asked. "Then we will do what we should have done 50 years ago," Zefki replied. "We will eliminate your species completely." Jake looked at the alien fleet on his sensors. They were impressive in number, but he could see the signs of system failures throughout the formation. "Ambassador Zefki, I have a counteroffer," Jake said. "Surrender now, and we will allow you to find a new place in the galaxy. A place where you contribute instead of steal." Zefki's form blazed with anger. "You are insects. You are nothing. You exist only because we allow it." "We exist because we refuse to give up," Jake replied. "We exist because we innovate. We exist because we never stop growing." The transmission ended. The battle was about to begin. But this time, humanity was ready. The innovation protocol was activated, and across the Veltar fleet, stolen technology began reverting to its original form. Weapons became less powerful. Shields became weaker. Ships became slower. At the same time, the human fleet and their alien allies activated their own advanced systems. Technology that had been developed through genuine innovation, not theft. The battle was swift and decisive. The Veltar fleet, already weakened by decades of technological decay, crumbled under the assault. Ships broke apart as their stolen components failed. Others simply shut down as their sabotaged systems finally gave up. But the real victory came when the surviving Veltar ships began surrendering. Not out of fear, but out of understanding. Commander Vrexta's voice came over the communication. "System. Human fleet, this is Commander Vrexta of the Cathara. We request permission to surrender." Jake was surprised. "Commander, you're not requesting asylum. You're requesting surrender." "Yes," Vrexta replied. "We have come to understand the truth. The Veltar way is wrong. We have been parasites, not contributors. We wish to learn a better way." More alien ships began surrendering. Not all of them, but enough to matter. The Veltar Confederacy was finally breaking apart. Ambassador Zefki's final message was filled with defeat and confusion. "This is impossible," he said. "Advanced civilizations rule over primitive ones. That is the natural order. That's the old order," Jake replied. "The new order is based on cooperation, not domination. Innovation, not theft. Growth, not stagnation." Zefki's form flickered one last time. "You do not understand. Without the Veltar, the galaxy will fall into chaos. Young species will destroy themselves with their own discoveries." "Maybe," Jake said, "but at least they'll have the chance to try." The battle was over. The Veltar Confederacy was finished. But the real work was just beginning. In the months that followed, Earth became the center of a new galactic alliance. Species that had been oppressed for centuries were finally free to develop their own technologies. The galaxy began to advance. At a pace not seen for thousands of years. Dr. Voss, despite his age, became the head of the new Galactic Innovation Council. His mission was to help species develop their own technologies instead of stealing from others. "The irony is beautiful," he told Jake one day. "The Veltar thought they were preserving galactic stability by controlling technological development. In reality, they were creating instability by preventing natural growth." Dr. Sharma established the Galactic Academy of Sciences, where young species